I'd like to call to order the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Jebin Singh.
Here.
McGuire.
Here.
McMurtry. Here. Miller.
Here.
Moran.
Here.
Zhang.
Here.
And Ortega.
Aye. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a land acknowledgement. We have Commissioner Miller.
All right, thank you, Chair. So every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hopes of a better life, and some have lived on this land since time immemorial. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and the other nations of people who also called this place home. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by tribal nations that entitle non-Native people to live and work on traditional Native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion on the agenda of June 24th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Miller.
Aye.
Moran. Zhang.
Aye.
Jebin Singh.
Aye.
McGuire. McMurtry. And Ortega.
Aye. I'll entertain a motion on the minutes of June 17th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Hearing no further discussion, roll call.
Miller.
Aye.
Moran. Zhang.
Aye.
Jebin Singh.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
And, I'm sorry, Commissioner McMurtry.
Aye.
Sorry.
I'd like to open the public hearing regarding the Ramsey County proposed salary ordinance for 2025. There is no vote taken today at the public hearing. Ramsey County is a welcoming, accessible, and inclusive organization. The public hearing is a space for the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners to hear from many different points of views. While providing public testimony, we ask that speakers be respectful and refrain from using language that may be harmful to others. Your testimony will become part of the public record for today's public hearing. The public hearing on the proposed Ramsey County Commissioners' salary ordinance for 2026 is now open. The purpose of the meeting is to allow the public an opportunity to comment on the proposed Ramsey County Commissioner's salary for 2026. For those who are here to speak at the public hearing in person or via Zoom, when you are called to speak, please state your name and city of residence before making your comment. You will have a limit of 3 minutes to give your testimony. Has anybody signed up?
Chair, Commissioners, no one has signed up, and we have no one on Zoom.
I'd like to speak, sir.
Yes.
Yes, come forward.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'd like to speak in opposition to your proposed
Could we
increase.
please have your name and city of residence?
Oh, certainly. Greg Copeland, 612 East Cook Avenue in St. Paul.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'd like to speak in opposition to your proposed wage increase, and particularly in opposition to the $7,200 per commissioner allowance that you're seeking to grant to yourselves. You already have a great job here. You get to set your own pay. That's not the usual case in the private sector. The salary that you're getting currently, as I understand it, it's about $23,000 more than the median household income in Ramsey County. Certainly it's like $60,000 more per capita in terms of the median income. To propose a 3% increase in your pay, I think, in tying it to general wages in terms of an increase for county employees, I don't know how many county employees, and some of you are here today, presumably county employees, are getting a $3,100 plus annual raise. So that 3% thing is kind of, it's not very transparent. I think what we're going to do is look at some other facts here. And, I'm an older guy now. I've been coming here when I wasn't an older guy, but now I am. And, I'm concerned about the 16.5% of the citizens of the county that are seniors, people that are on Social Security, people that get a tax bill because they own their house, even if we're just temporary residents, it seems. I've been here for 32 years. And frankly, the Social Security raises 2.5%. But their 2.5% is a whole lot less than your 3%. This last year, it amounted to about $48 a month increase. USA Today reports that it's going to go down again next year to 2.4%. The proposed increase that you're granting to yourselves under this proposal is 5.4 times larger than your Social Security constituency gets, if that matters to you as elected officials. And as you know, because you administer social services in the county, at least 16% of the county overall, higher in St. Paul, about 21%, but countywide, 16% of the people living in poverty. And during the recent legislative session, we heard all kinds of talk from county commissioners all around the state about, and I quote Hennepin County's Jeff Lundy, the budget storm is coming. Well, folks, I hate to tell you, the budget storm came for a lot of people long before this budget cycle. Ramsey and Washington County pay out assistance for people to keep their heat on. 20,888 people in the last cycle got assistance. 125,000 households around the state got assistance. That money's going away. So here's my thought. You know, raising property taxes to pay your increased salary isn't going to help those people. It's not going to really improve anything in the county except your bank balance, I presume. But sincerely, you know, if you're not going to vote against that increase, how about taking the increased money and that allowance money and budget it as an assist to the Ramsey Washington Community Action Agency that administers our heat program. That's just one idea. I'm sure all of you, 7 of you that are here today, all have different ideas. But you don't have to take the money. There's actually a provision in the charter, and I've mentioned it here before. You can read your charter as well as I can, that you can actually reduce your wages during the course of the year. You don't have to wait until the preset time of July 1st. I'm done. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other who wish to come and speak? Any others? Anybody that wishes to come up and speak? Is there anybody that wishes to come up and speak? We still have no one on Zoom or?
Correct. Chair, Commissioners, there's also no one on Zoom as well.
Having no one else who wishes to speak, this public hearing is closed. Okay. Administrative items, Commissioner Miller.
Yes, I move to approve the following administrative items. Administrative item number 4, amendment to the joint powers agreement with the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs for the Functional Zero project. Number 5, sole source agreement with Metropolitan Council for Employee MetroPass. Item number 6, Minnesota Council on Local Results and Innovations Performance Measurement Program.
I'd like to pull number 6.
All right. Item number 7, agreement with Newark Communications International Corp., DBA NCIC, Correctional Services for Inmate Communication Services. I'd like to pull that item.
What number was that? I'm sorry.
7.
Okay.
Item number 8, agreement with Tahar Inc. for micro market services.
I'd like to pull number 8.
Item number 9, acceptance of legislative grant for Capital Area Public Safety and Livability Initiative. Item number 10, grant agreement with the Minnesota Department of Public Safety for the Crossover Dual Status Youth Grants 2025 program. Item number 11, grant agreement with the Minnesota Office.
Yeah, I'd like to pull both 10 and 11.
Okay.
Sorry.
Item number 11, grant agreement with Minnesota Office of Justice Programs for the Restorative Practices Initiative Grant Program 2025, and that is it.
Thank you. Do I get a second?
Oh, second.
Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Excuse me. Miller,
Aye.
Moran, Zhang, Jevin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Commissioner Jevin Singh, item number 6.
Yes. The question I have on item number 6, I know this is fairly procedural, and it's talking about an innovation performance measurement program, and there are a handful of metrics that the county has chosen to highlight. And I just had a question on one of the metrics, which is the report on low birth weight. And I guess my question is, we've seen a slow increase over the time period that was reported in our agenda. And I'm just wondering if we have this data disaggregated so we can see which groups may be most effective and how we as a county are addressing the issue.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Larry Timmerman, Planning Manager in Policy and Planning. Chair Ortega, Commissioners, thank you for the question. Commissioner Devin Singh. Yes, there has been a slight increase over time. You can find the disaggregated data in our community indicators. So we have that on our website. We have the updated data that'll be updated on the website sometime in July. So you'll be able to see the updated that goes through 2023. So that's the 2025 report. There's a lag, but it's disaggregated by race and ethnicity. The report that we submit to the state auditor does not require any disaggregation, so it's not there.
Okay. And then if we ever wanted to get a sense of how the county specifically is addressing as a county manager, I'm guessing this would be through public health and other programs as well?
Yeah, primarily through Public Health, Commissioner.
Yeah. And it's a measure that our public health department does track too, so
Excellent. Thank you.
thank you.
Commissioner McMurtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wondering, out of there are 27 items that were identified with the standards, and we do maybe it's 8 or 9. Over the years, have we ever discussed either adding additional items that we want to audit or removing existing ones? Like, has there been any discussion around that? And is there a possibility for us to see what's the full list of 27?
Thank you, Chair, Commissioner McMurtry. Yes, we have added one this year, actually. Let me get this one exactly correct. The accidents that involve fatalities is an addition. The requirement now is to report on 10 measures. And so most counties report on that number. So you'll see that if you go to the state auditor's report. We do report on many of the other measures in different ways. So they show up in our community indicators and our performance measures in our own county performance measurement program. So if there's any in particular you'd like to see, we can certainly put it together.
Any other questions? Could,
I would move that we approve item number 6, the Minnesota Council on Local Results and Innovations Performance Measurement Program.
Second.
discussion, roll call.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran, Zhang, Devin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Commissioner Miller, item 7.
Yes, I just had a few questions that I want to know. So a couple questions are, how does this agreement or new contract improve access and quality of communication services for inmates and their families?
Good morning.
Welcome.
I'm Ashley Bryant, Undersheriff of Detention Services for the Sheriff's Office. We're very excited for this opportunity to enter into this agreement with NCIC. It will open up several opportunities for family and friends and those who are within our facility. We have negotiated that each individual will have 2 free phone calls a day, as well as 1 video visit. So the opportunities for the no-cost options are available. In addition to that, we'll have tablets that are introduced into the facility, and those tablets within the facility will also have additional programming, religious programming, educational programming, mental health programming, and there's also it's called a Learn to Earn, which allows them to be incentivized to take that programming and spend, I believe they're called gems, to look at premium content. So whether it's movies or TV shows and things like that.
Okay, thank you. And then do you have a timeline for the rollout, and will inmate communication be down during this process? I didn't see one on the packet.
Thank you for the question. It is 90 days from once we approve the contract, and it will go in phases. So the first will be introduction of the telephones, and then it will be the video visiting kiosks, and then it will be the tablets. And at no time will there be a communication. There will be some form of communication that will always be available during that time.
Okay, and then my final question, has this company, through our procurement process, has this company been vetted, and does it provide other services or to other correctional facilities, either jails or prisons within the state of Minnesota?
It is.
Okay.
And this is also the company that services the RCCF.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much.
Okay, Commissioner Moultrie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One question I have is around, with in the state legislature, with the passage of the free phone calls and video calls, I've read that some ways that some of these telecommunication providers have kind of circumvent these policies is by kind of price gouging other services, whether it's music or entertainment or money transfers for folks who are incarcerated. Is this something that we've looked into, and can we kind of be assured that we're not going to see, this particular vendor go about those similar tactics?
We have looked at that for this, as well as the commissary contract that is coming up. I believe it's next week. With this in particular contract, the FCC came down with very heavy mandates as far as where individuals or companies could basically price gouge, if you will. We are down to 7 cents a minute for each additional minute, which is significantly down from what we were before, which was 15 cents a minute. So I do believe that the team negotiated a very fair contract.
Right.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jevon Singh.
Yes, I'm really happy to hear the intention of the tablets. When I saw the list of equipment and saw the over 500 tablets, my thought was, how many are we thinking are going to break in these kiosks? But hearing that these will be used for productive time while people are with us, the idea there's educational, mental health, spiritual, and other kinds of guidance is really comforting. And I guess my question is, how will this at all impact staffing as far as need to transport folks back and forth to kiosks in order to access these kinds of programming or to other programming opportunities, or just for, again, keeping people occupied in a more productive way? I'm just wondering if this will have any additional maybe easing up of maybe burdens on staff, or is that completely not at all affected by this?
As far as the numbers of staff, it wouldn't affect that.
Right.
However, it likely will provide some relief to staff. I have children who are on iPads, and it does provide relief when they are on them. So there is that, as well as we will still do in-person programming where they're provided the programming in classrooms. But this will be, they'll be able to have this programming on their lap, and they can do the programming at their own leisure.
And just to follow up to that, I know that one of the issues has been access to books within the facility, and also I'm assuming access to like legal libraries and other kinds of things. Will these tablets facilitate that in any way?
Absolutely, and especially the legal library. Right now, we are very mechanical as far as getting paper from the legal library, and it's 50 pages at a time. This has a application to the law library where they can look at anything that is provided.
Well, I'll just say in messy people work, it's very rare that technology can make things better, and I think this is a great opportunity, so thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Commissioner Moran.
Good morning. I just want to say congratulations on this. You know, for the last 2 years, we've been talking about this, creating a process, investing in it to make it free for inmates. And it is really good to see that we're at this moment where if you got a contract and you're ready to go. I'm really impressed with the earn and learn piece of this to incentivize inmates while they're there to learn, but also to get something out of that. I think that's really, really important. And to really have these tablets available. We do know that, the ADC is not the place where often individuals should not be staying for an extended time, but they are. And so this is a way to just really, I think it aligns with our values of really creating opportunities, but we want people to be good citizens, right? And so it's good to hear where we are right now based on the conversations and the commitment that we had as a board to invest in this type of process where inmates are able to make free calls. So really appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Zhang?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. In the contract, does it state any or contingencies or ways to resolve technological issues that may arise?
I believe there's 24/7 support available, and we will be troubleshooting that as well with the implementation.
Okay. And I just have a question, just in experiences of where we've seen previous contracts where, the technology was failing or, it just didn't work with the vendor. What would happen in that case if it just doesn't work and the technology fault is on their end?
Non-performance issues with the contractual term invoke some degree of terms and conditions in the contract to allow us to secure a different vendor, claw back any financial pieces, reach some sort of settlement agreement. But I think there's a lot of assurances built in with this contract, in part because they're already at the correctional facility, and that helps. We know they work in the Ramsey County environment.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller, you want to move it, please?
I will move agenda administrative item number 7, the agreement with Network Communications International Corp., DBA NCIC Correctional Services for inmate communication services.
Second.
Hearing no further discussion, roll call.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran, Zhang,
Aye.
Jebin Singh, McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry,
Aye.
and Ortega.
Aye. Commissioner McMultry. And Garrison, could you move it first, and then we'll have discussion?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll move item number 8, agreement with Tire Incorporated for micro market services.
Second.
Discussion? Garrison?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had one quick question because seeing from the list, it looks like they were the only bidder. So just want to get clarification from you all and confirmation from you all that this is indeed someone who meets the needs of this particular item here. Were there any concerns? Were they fully vetted? Just want to get you all's thoughts there.
So Taher Food Service does our food service within our ADC facility. They are a wonderful provider of food service. We have also done very innovative programs. We have guest chefs that come in. We have Taher University, in which they bring in individuals who are looking to work in other facilities as far as schools and things like that, and they use our kitchen, and then our staff are able to also taste their foods, and so they do appreciate that. So we are looking forward to having them be our micro market. And we're looking forward to having new, more fresh options from them.
Any further questions?
Chair,
Yes.
this
Commissioner.
actually, thank you, Mr. Chair. This goes to not just this agreement, but sort of generally any agreement, because I remember during COVID, that we had contracts, and no one anticipated that there was going to be a pandemic and that we wouldn't be able to have these agreements, and so there was this confusion, and I think we were on the line for contracts that we didn't use just because there was no provision to not provide the contract because of a pandemic or not going to work. And I don't know that that's the case, but I just remember hearing about this from other places, and so I don't know. Do we have provisions in these contracts for unforeseen circumstances? I'm just curious about that. And it's bringing it. I'm thinking about it as I'm looking at your contract. And maybe that's a question for the county manager.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I'm pretty sure that our terms and conditions covers a variety of things, including we have 30-day to be able to get out of virtually all our contracts with some notice. So I don't think what you're referring to is probably a big issue.
Probably a big, I just remember us thinking, Okay, and we didn't anticipate this. Now it's going to be written in, I think it was with NACO actually, that we were having this conversation, that this was for conferences, that we had these big contracts for conferences. And, you know, we had to cancel them because we weren't meeting in person. And so it was whether we could, you know, extend it or whatever. And so it just made us think about making sure that there's provisions in contracts for 30
I
days
do think
to get out of and
a
everything.
lot of contracts might have like weather related or like catastrophes. I'm not sure if at some point pandemics were considered you know,
I
a catastrophe because it was
what
nothing
anyone
we've ever
anticipated.
experienced before.
Right. And so was just curious about unforeseen circumstances that we didn't know, you know, how it's written into these contracts. But I like if there's 30 days that we can cancel some of these. I'm just curious generally as far as contracts, and I can pursue, you know, we can, I can find out,
Well, Jada
our
could
county
tell us,
attorney
but
is going to give me some information at
in
some
my
point.
experience, we have pretty good standard provisions.
Yeah.
I've never, even during the pandemic, there wasn't anything that was.
There wasn't anything that we were,
But Jada could speak to it better than I can.
I'm happy to speak offline about
Yeah.
our legal strategies related to our contracting provisions.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. And like I said, I shouldn't have said that we were responsible. It was with NACO where they were in AMC and these big conferences that they were trying to renegotiate because of the lack of being able to have one. So, thanks.
Hearing no further discussion, roll call.
Miller. Aye. Moran. Zhang. Jebin Singh.
Aye.
McGuire. McMurtry. And Zhang. Sorry, Ortega.
Item number 10, Commissioner Jebin Singh.
Yes, actually, I move for, I'm going to move these two together, if that's okay. Or no? One at a time? Okay. I would like to move item number 10, grant agreement with the Minnesota Department of Public Safety for the crossover dual status Youth Grants 2025 program, and number 11, the grant agreement with the Minnesota Office of Justice Programs for the Restorative Practices Initiatives Grant Program in 2025.
Second.
I'll give you each a second for each item.
The reason why I wanted to pull this is just that I know that these grants represent ongoing work in our issues around public safety and youth justice transformation, and I wanted to let folks just lift up and give us a little bit of a brief overview of the issues these grants are seeking to address and how you'll be using the funds.
Thank you, Commissioner. Erica Schumacher with the County Attorney's Office. I focus on our strategic initiatives. We also have with us Kevin Fleming, who leads our Youth Justice and Wellness Division, as well as Eric Willems, who's our Director of Admin. So we're happy to be here before you today with really good news that we were able to secure some funding from the state to support our efforts to reimagine justice for youth. So the first grant opportunity, it says for crossover youth, is really for young people that are being referred to the delinquency system in our office, but that also have a history of abuse and neglect. And one of the things that we've noticed through our youth justice transformation efforts, which are collective efforts that the entire county really participates in, most of the county, is that, you know, these kids are seen in different departments, different divisions, different aspects of what's going on in their lives, but we're really trying to better understand comprehensively what's going on with young people and families so we can better serve them. The other thing in the youth justice transformation space is that we're seeing a lot of young people that are being held at the JDC because of intrafamilial violence or conflict. And so our staff, along with Elijah Norris Holiday, saw an opportunity to really try to think differently about how we're providing services to these young people and families. And so that dedicated $99,000 in service funding, it's not a lot, but our hope is that we're able to find some dedicated resources to really better help those young people and families address some of that interpersonal conflict, both so that kids and families can stay together and also so that they don't get referred back to our office for some of those underlying challenges. So, and then that does come as well with some technical assistance. That was part of the grant opportunity, so we'll be receiving some technical assistance through there. The other thing I want to just, there's a little error in the FTE for that one. It's actually not an attorney that's in our office. It's a planning specialist who's going to be doing that work. So just to clarify for folks, I also really want to thank county staff for helping us to expedite these because the state was on a really aggressive timeline. And so really want to appreciate the work that was done for both of those. So that's the first grant, the crossover grant. And then the second grant was through the Office of Restorative Practices. So we worked really hard in 2023 to get that office passed to help support the state's efforts, and really the vision for that office is to support restorative practices throughout the state. So really, and it's not just through the justice system, through the education system, child welfare systems. So this was the first granting opportunity that the state office had. It was $8 million, and we were really fortunate to receive $450,000 total. So what we will be prioritizing that funding for is, one, to have a dedicated attorney on our collaborative review team. So as many of you know, we worked together over about 6 years to come up with a vision and begin implementing with our community about how can we do things differently to better support young people coming into our office and not just make decisions on our own, but have them be informed by the public defender and also impact the community. And so we've seen the need, though, to have a dedicated attorney in that space. We've been rotating attorneys, and it just doesn't help with the relationship building and the consistency and continuity. So this will enable us to have a dedicated attorney in that space. The bulk of the funding is going toward community investment, so we also have funding to support that community person's perspective in that collaborative review process. And one of our goals this year is to expand that process to kids who are currently so if kids are being held in custody, we have to make a really quick decision. There's no time for a collaborative process, but we hope to expand to have a collaborative process after that decision is made. And so that, and then addition to youth services. So that's one thing, we need more funding to support the services as we refer young people to community-based organizations. We need funding to support that work. So that's the bulk of what that will go to, and then there's some training funding in there as well. So we're very excited to be able to receive this funding and really appreciate all the support from the board.
Thank you. Commissioner Zhang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just also want to say thank you so much for the deep partnership from the County Attorney's Office and working with across the departments at the county here, and also your strong commitment to our youth justice transformation work. As a part of a member to the working group here, you know, I've just seen the County Attorney's Office commitment demonstrated in the meetings and even the hustle when we talk about, you know, grant opportunities or identify needs that, you know, you are actively contributing towards that. So thank you. And also kudos to Elijah for pulling the group together.
Thank you. Commissioner Moran.
You know, I could just say ditto. Right? She just took all those words out of everything. You know, it's really impressive, though, when we have a county attorney who's going after dollars like this to look at transformational work that needs to be done with our young people. So really excited that the county attorney office is looking at how to reimagine justice for youth. I think that is really, really important. And the work that you're going to do to not just look at the child, but look at the whole family, I think is really, really important. And you cannot do that unless they have interpersonal skills to be able to do that, to stay together. So, I mean, this is just like really good work that we're initiating to move forward and to do it in partnership with community. Because we know, as we look at the African American Family Preservation Act, a lot of those youth are African Americans. And we are really, the state and the county is really looking at ways to keep kids with family. So having some type of skill, some training that can help with that process is really important. And it's coming from the county attorney's office, so it makes it put a little bit more meat on the process of families being committed to this type of learning or engagement or process that's going to happen. And so very excited about that. The one question is around the restorative practices. When I think about restorative practice, I think it's a really good training but it's also about empathy, you know, because sometimes our young people are committing crimes and they're not feeling nothing, right? They're not taking on that responsibility, and that is really what that restorative practice is about. But I didn't hear that, so is that going to be kind of like inclusive of the process of looking at ways to, you know, at some point bring the victim and the perpetrator together, right, so that they can do some forgiveness that needs to happen sometime.
Yes, thank you,
All the
Commissioner
time.
Moran and Commissioners. So yes, that services funding, part of what that goes to fund is our community-based organizations that are doing that responding through those restorative circles. And so they provide people who have been harmed opportunities to engage in the process. And so some of them might prefer to have a community member step in their place to share, you know, how they might have been impacted and not directly participate. Some of them want to convey how they were impacted through, we actually have a full-time restorative outreach and support coordinator who's now engaging the families and anyone who is a victim who's been harmed to get their perspective to inform our decision-making. And so they may decide that that's as much as I want to give you. I don't really want to participate directly, but we've had really great success stories of people participating directly in circle with young people. And being able, exactly as you said, to develop that empathy, because if we can develop empathy in young people, then they'll be able to regulate their own behavior.
Right.
They don't want to harm other people. They don't understand. They don't have the context for the behaviors. And they're developmentally, we know, right, it takes till 25 for them to develop that. So yes, that services funding will will provide for some of our community-based partners who do that work.
So again, thank you for taking the lead and doing this work. Kudos to Elijah and DCM Reyes for their work and partnership in this area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I have Commissioner Gibbons.
And then me, yeah. Oh, for sure. I just wanted to expand on the work with the community-based organizations. In a previous role, we at NYFS, we partnered with that, and I just want to lift up that the transformative actions of having a youth either interact or writing a letter of contrition and taking ownership for action and realizing there was a person on the other side of the business that they tagged being goofy with their friends, and then realizing that had real repercussions for that family, for that business, for that community, and seeing those youth then being also have the support to then take that and build it into a productive step forward. So I thank you for that. The question I have is I'm happy to see that some of these grant dollars are going into community. We can't do this work alone, and making sure that our community-based organizations have the resources to do this kind of work with fidelity. Are we anticipating that these dollars will follow pace of market demands on those communities, on those community organizations to staff and staff salaries, or do we anticipate that this will expand services? I just want to set expectations appropriately.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Commissioner. Yeah, I mean, our hope would be to be able to expand services. The reality is, given our current level of need of referrals of young people and of funding, this will not actually fill the whole gap that we have for services. In addition, the first contracts that we let were 5-year contracts. So we did the maximum county contracts. Those are all coming up at the end of this year, beginning of next year. So we'll be embarking on a new RFP process shortly to give contracts to new community-based organizations, and we fully anticipate that all of them will increase their rates because in the last 5 years, costs for everything have increased, right? And so we understand those pressures. That's a reality of doing this work, but we really value and find it critical that community is not only at the table with us to inform the design of this, the governance of this, the decision-making of this, but also doing the actual responding to young people and families. And we're seeing some really promising results by doing that. So we're very committed to that. We're going to have to continue to find resources to support it. But I appreciate you lifting that up in terms of we would love to be able to expand. We know there's a need to expand. We see a lot of need. And we're not quite there yet, but we're going to continue to work on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Moran.
I know you just stated that the RFP process for the community-based organizations, you're coming up with an expiration at the end of this year, so that means you're going to have to do another RFP. for the next 3 to 5 years, what does that process look like? Because part of me thinks that, relationships has been built, they have knowledge of the process, and, if we change that process, we lose a lot of that knowledge and connections and relationships. But then on the other hand, there may have been a community-based organization being like, they didn't quite get there. So is it like a really thought-through process of how you move forward for the next 5 years?
Commissioner Moran, appreciate that. Yes, so that was part of our goal in doing the full 5-year maximum contract, was to be able to build relationships and continuously improve and work with them over time, and then continue to monitor with data and evaluation how it's going, right? So that we're doing referral-based contracts so that the funding stays with the young people and stays with the need. And then we're evaluating how those providers are doing and who's best serving our young people, so that can inform our decisions going forward, both about how we support our partners and also about where we need to make more investments or bring in different partners. And so the RFP process, we were very intentional about the first time around to try to make it as plain language and accessible as possible. We know those are barriers for smaller community-based organizations to even get the funding and to be partners with us. And some of our grassroots, culturally specific organizations have really demonstrated the most impact in terms of working with our young people. So it will be an open, competitive process, just like any other public funding process. And we will encourage folks to apply. And then we do have a committee that will be representative of all the folks at the table that will review these and make decisions about how many to award, whom to award, and how we can try to continue this work going forward.
Thank you.
Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo my gratitude for these great programs, and this is transformative work. And we saw that it's being recognized throughout the country as NACO brought a cohort of people here to learn about this great work. Mr. Fleming gave a presentation, and I know you were all a part of that. Elijah, was all a part of this great work that the rest of the country is taking a look at and seeing how amazing it is and how transformative it is for our youth. So thank you so much. And you're doing these restorative practices. The state now has a couple of people, I think, maybe 3 people working on restorative practices. They're bringing it to the rest of the state because it's so successful in communities. So just thank you for leading on that as well, because they're taking note of the great work that you're doing and promoting that in other parts of the state as well. You mentioned about having to expedite the contracts, and I'm wondering, part of getting contract or getting grants is that you're ready for them when they're available, and so kudos to be ready when these grants have been available. And I know that the state and federal government, generally down from the feds, are, if there's any, they're clawing back money or they're just holding back on money from grants if it's not absolutely spent, even if it's dedicated. So are you having troubles with that, or how are we? Just what's moving forward? How are we taking advantage of the money in the state also, so that nothing has to be sent back and that we're ready for as much as we can be? And I think that's what you are doing. And so I just want to say thank you for that, but just what's your sense of how we're doing on accessing any other grants that might be available?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, Commissioner. So for these 2 grants, they're both state-funded grants, so we don't anticipate that being a challenge with these 2. We do have a couple federal or pass-through grants in our office. We are watching. I don't know that we've had any issues come up with those yet, but we are, continuing to utilize those funds as best we can, and hope that won't be an issue going forward.
Yeah. Well, good luck. I know it's been a challenge for people that have dedicated resources to a program and needing time to spend it, but needing time to use it. But if it's not being used, they're taking it back. So good job keeping an eye on that and doing the best we can to make sure we've used it all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions? Thank you for your good work, as always. For items number 10 and 11, roll call, please.
Miller,
Aye.
Moran, Zhang, Jebin Singh,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
McMurtry, and Ortega.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
County Connections.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ramsey County Attorney, folks, maybe don't leave too quickly. My first item is about some good work you guys have been doing. I'm happy to share that the Youth Auto Theft Intervention Project is being recognized for a 2025 NACO Achievement Award. So in 2021 and 2022, Ramsey County experienced a sharp and deeply unsettling rise in youth-involved auto theft and carjackings. The unpredictability of these crimes shook public confidence, placed enormous pressure on law enforcement, community leaders, and families. This project was launched as a unified response to the complex problem, and what began as an isolated effort across agencies became a coordinated, targeted, strategic partnership between the Attorney's Office, the Sheriff's Office, and the African American Leadership Council. The project was built on a focused deterrence model, adapted specifically to youth auto theft and carjacking. And so I just want to talk about why the results were really the reason it won the award in addition to the collaboration. Since the launch, the carjackings in Ramsey County have decreased 78%, and auto thefts have dropped by 55%. It is the largest percentage reduction in the nation, making it one of the most effective youth crime interventions in the country. So thank you, all of you, while you're still here. So we look forward to honoring this award as the board goes to the NACO conference. So I have one more thing, and this is a little bit of a sadder note. It's with profound sadness that I'm sharing the passing of Sergeant Beverly Rodriguez of Metro Transit Police Department. She died on White Bear Lake on Sunday. Sergeant Rodriguez joined the Metro Transit Police in 2017 and led what is called the Homeless Action Team, a unit focused on reaching and helping people experiencing homelessness. The unit has helped hundreds of people in addition to working very hard along our University Corridor and along our Green Line. She worked very closely with Deputy County Manager Reyes, who's actually part of the transport this morning, moving her body, so from the medical examiner to the funeral home. So Sergeant Rodriguez was an extremely passionate and strong leader in this work. She was on the Green Line every day, basically, supporting the work, helping connect people. And so we're going to really miss her in our community. She was an active part of the Violence Reduction Leadership Group, giving updates there. And so I just offer our condolences to her family. I did send a organizational note to Metro Transit Police this morning to Chief Dasseth on our behalf, but just, feeling a big loss this morning for her. So, all right.
Actually, we were with her just last week at a meeting.
Yeah, she was just presenting on Thursday. She passed away in a boating accident on Sunday on White Bear Lake. So.
Let me go to outside board and committee. I'm going to start with Commissioner Miller because she's gotten shortchanged in the last couple of weeks with time. But I guess this week I shouldn't
This
have.
week, this week I was going to say no updates, but I do have just a couple things. I just want to uplift that. I went to the Midway Job Fair with Director O'Neill, and it was amazing and great to see how many job seekers there were and also how many employers. It was really great to see that, so thank you for the invite. I also attended our NACO EELU, which is Environment, Energy, and Land Use monthly call. They reviewed some proposals for the resolutions that will be proposed at the NACO conference next month. And then I attended on Saturday the grand reopening of the Goodrich Golf Course, which was really cool, and had a tour of the golf course. I'm not a golfer, but maybe I will take up golf and go hit. I do have 3 golf courses in my district, so I could take my turn. Mm-hmm. With that is it. No further updates. Meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Garrison?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Don't have any update, I just wanted to thank everybody, all my colleagues here for reaching out after the horrific events from last week. Really appreciate the support and kind words from everyone, and as well a special thank you to the Sheriff's Department and St. Paul PD for their coordination and their efforts to keep me and my family safe. So just really thank everyone for the support there, and appreciate all of you.
Sure. I had the opportunity to be at two events with the Arden Hills Shoreview Business Council last week. We were able to get an update on local housing development in Shoreview and Arden Hills and surrounding areas. It was lovely to see the work that's being done by our municipalities to address the housing issues. And also there was a session to reflect on the legislative session get updates from Representative David Godfrey and myself and discuss local issues with business leaders. And it's always nice to be in community and be able to talk to people directly in those informal settings. I had a chance to meet with Commissioner Lundy from Hennepin County. And it was lovely to see there's a lot of metro and regional coordination of efforts around public safety and mental health supports for youth. And so we really realized we had a shared interest and focus on that. So I expect to continue to build those relationships going forward. I was at a retirement event for John Wayne Barker, who is celebrating after 27 years at Merrick, which is a leader among disability service providers in the state and a longtime colleague of mine in Venice Heights. And so lovely to see folks come out and to honor his work and community. I just want to thank everyone in Ramsey County itself who showed up to table at a number of community events this Juneteenth weekend, and happy to be able to have time again. It was bloody hot. And I want to say everybody who came out and staffed any of those tables and spent time chatting with community members, thank you, thank you. Thank you to the Black Excellence Employee Resource Group for their Juneteenth barbecue. Great to be able to sit and chat with folks just one-on-one. The Mounds View Juneteenth Community Picnic, where they were able to report back. They were the first municipality in the state to require that the racial covenants on their houses are mandated during a sale, to remove those covenants. And while there's only been 25, I think, that were mandated by that ordinance, over 200 houses have voluntarily removed those covenants thanks to their good work. And then also the Freedom Festival in Venice Heights. Huge turnout, which is wonderful to see in our community, where these types of events are new to be in our neighborhoods, and so lovely to see our communities creating space for community to be together. And then at the Annika Foundation at the Capitol, I just want to say again, I had to the earlier comment about our low birth weights. I had a chance to reconnect again with Tamiko Ralston, who's with our Ramsey County Birth Equity Community Council, to get an update on the work that they're doing. And thank you, County Manager Becker, for being able to forward some of the data, the disaggregated data on this. You know, there is, from 20 to 2014, while our Asian community remained steady and our white community had a decrease of 1% in low birth weight, Black and Hispanic communities had an increase of 1%, and our American Indian community had an increase in 3%. And so the work by our public health departments to make sure that we're truly giving maternal health care and all the supports to families so that they can have healthy babies is really important. So just want to lift that work up. And then lastly, just to let folks know that there will be a special Rice Creek Commons Joint Development Authority meeting tomorrow to consider a request for a preliminary development agreement extension from Alatis. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to start out with a meeting that Chair Ortega and I had last week with Congresswoman McCollum. We've been wanting to meet with her as a board, and this was the meeting that we could have, and we had it at her office. We are always looking forward to having her meet with all of us, so we'll keep looking for those opportunities. A number of us visit with her when we're in D.C., but this was a few of us that were in her office. We talked about the Reconciliation Act, an upcoming budget and appropriations bills. We met with her and her chief of staff, Josh Straka, and our county manager was there as well. And we were able to share details about the SNAP and Medicaid numbers, look like for Ramsey County. And so we were just able to have a really good conversation with her. She's supportive of our efforts in these areas, and she's working really hard at the federal government to not have the cuts come through. So she's fighting hard for us, but there's a lot of cuts proposed in those programs, and we're all fighting together for those to not happen. Additionally, Congresswoman McCollum hosted an online listening session last Wednesday morning with several panelists from the community, including our own Carissa Dillon from our food insecurity. She talked about food security and the SNAP usage. So kudos and thanks to Carissa Dillon for being a part of that listening session with Congresswoman McCollum. Also want to say that most of you have probably heard, but just to acknowledge that Representative Hortman and her husband Mark will be lying in state this Friday at the Capitol, and she's the first woman and one of fewer than 20 Minnesotans to lie in state at the Capitol. And that will be from 12 to 5 on Friday, and that is for members of the public, where the people will get a chance to walk by the caskets, and their dog will be with them as well. So it's going to be a somber time, but it's a chance for people to pay their respects. I've been to the Capitol to visit the memorials that continue to grow outside the House chambers in honor of Representative Hortman and her husband. And also they're having a private ceremony, private funeral on Saturday. So just wanted to acknowledge the thoughts and prayers that continue to go out to her family. And and that's from 12 to 5 on Friday, 12 to 5. And then, of course, our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to Senator Hoffman, who remains in the hospital. His wife has been released, but we just continue to send our thoughts and prayers to them. So thank you for that. I will also report that the AMC Board of Directors met, and we approved the 2026 AMC dues after a long conversation. There's always the struggle with how much counties can afford and how much we want to support our Association of Minnesota Counties work and staff, and their work has been instrumental, I think, in really helping us with our advocacy efforts at the state and at the federal government. So we talked about the dues. We also approved the AMC appointments to the NACO boards. We reapproved Terrell Clark, Tim Sumner, and Todd Patzer and Rich Svay to our NACO boards. They were running unopposed. They just were reelected to serve in their terms. And we got a great federal funds update. I mean, it's not so great, but it was interesting to hear the MMB. We had people from the Minnesota Management and Budget Office that came and gave an overview of the impact of federal fund changes on the state of Minnesota budget, which of course is handed down to us as well. So with that, our next AMC board meeting is actually going to be in September in conjunction with our AMC fall policy. So just to make sure it gets on all of your calendars, the fall conference is September 10th, the 9th and 10th. And it's a great it's the conference that we should all go to participate in the policy that AMC passes. This is where the committees meet, where we vote on policy, and then it becomes the policy that we advocate for at the Capitol. So our voices are really important there, as they are at our NACO annual conference, which is coming up in July. So I know that most of us are attending that, but that is really important work, where we will elect our next second vice president, and our committees will pass the committee budgets, and will actually, as an association, pass the entire association policy agenda. So, and we get to honor our award winners too from the county attorney's office who received that NACO award. So and then also we had a University of Minnesota Extension meeting yesterday, and I was there with Commissioner McMurtry and Commissioner Jebin Singh and our county our county manager. We had actually a lot of Ramsey County people there giving reports. Carissa Dillon gave her food security update. We had Cameron Bailey was from Urban Agriculture, and it was a great meeting. Heard about SNAP Ed. We heard about Cooking Matters, all the amazing programs that Extension does, and they really are out in community, working with community on all the ways that that people can get healthy food, that they can work together on all the issues that help them survive in their families. So, also we did talk about the gardening. I call them expert gardeners. The program, we talked about that, and we have a plan moving forward for that name change request, and it was a really good conversation. They had a lot of volunteers there, and we had a good conversation on that, which I know there's going to be lots of meetings happening on that name change. And we talked about the Farm Family of the Year, which we're very excited about. Then I also want to talk about Rose Fest, because this is the time of festivals. So last night was the Rose Fest parade, and that was a great, this is in Roseville. This is their annual summer festival. There will be also the Taste of Rose Fest, which is sponsored by Rotary, but it's an amazing event where you come and you pay one fee, and then you get to taste a lot of beverages and food from 20 different restaurants from around the area. And it's a very popular event. There'll be music, and I'd encourage anyone to go to that, and you can go online and get tickets. And it's a great fundraiser for the community. All the money that we raise there goes back into community. There's the Run for the Roses, which is a very popular event on Saturday. So Roseville continues to celebrate very in a really big way this summer. Also tonight, County Manager Becker and I are speaking at the St. Anthony Village City Council meeting, so we're very excited about giving our county update there. And then Thursday night, the Ramsey County League of Local Governments is doing a manufactured home parks event. This is in Vadnais Heights. It's a hosting at 5 Star Estates, which is a manufactured home park. This is to help residents in 15 manufactured home parks across 8 suburban counties access critical weatherization and energy efficiency resources. So that is hosted at 5 Star Estates in Vadnais Heights Thursday night. And I believe that starts at 5, and it goes till, I think, 8. But anyone who's in a manufactured home park or wants information on that should attend that. And then Friday, the AMC Solid Waste Work Group will meet virtually. We're continuing to look at how we can, as a state, really manage our solid waste. And we're, of course, leading in some of those ideas with our work with our Recycling and Energy Center. So thank you, Mr. Chair. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Jean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll continue on the festival piece. This weekend is the Hmong Freedom Festival. It is free and open to the public this year, thanks to funding from the state. Last year, they had about 60,000 people in attendance and over 200 vendors. So it's going to be very big. Be prepared to wait in lines, and right next door to Roseville. So
it's in Como Park.
Yep,
Right? Yeah.
yep, by the McMurray Fields. Last week, I attended. I was a panelist for the Congressional Progressive Caucus in partnership with Take Action Minnesota, and also sponsored by the McKnight Foundation, to talk about building for local power, building community-owned clean energy. And so we highlighted success stories of different communities just working towards and utilizing clean energy to serve communities. So I was on the panel with Bobby King from Solar United Neighbors. They had a partnership in Duluth where they put solar on land trust homes to help further decrease energy costs and make the homes affordable. Tom Lucy from SPFE, St. Paul Federation of Educators, who's a social worker but very active in making sure that the school district transitions or uses sustainable energy. They also have they explained a model of even at Johnson High School of using geothermal over there, along with Roger Miller, the Minneapolis Friends community. They have a very old building, but then when they explored solar, they're like, it aligned with their own values of sustainability too. And then finally with Bob Blake. And so they shared just different examples of how they installed solar in their communities. And then for me, I shared about the Heights Project, about how there were so many folks that were required to actually make this project happen for the geothermal to take place there. So it was just a really powerful experience of, what things we can do very locally here to achieve those goals. Next, I attended the TAB, the Met Council's TAB, the Transportation Advisory Board meeting. And we received an update. This is where Metro folks, including county, city partners, attend to review plans that the Met Council has. An interesting legislative update that we received was that they received a loan authorization of the Met Council to provide $250 million to MnDOT to do their project, and this is to go towards West 7th Street. So the state actually authorized that, and which is great, and which is what they should be doing because it's a state road to reconstruct that. Next is the Joint Property Tax Advisory Committee. This is where both Commissioner Moran, Commissioner McMurtry, and I are on, along with both a few representatives from the St. Paul City Council, the St. Paul Public School District, to just share back about our, of course, the legislative debrief, but also the challenges and what we're anticipating for the next budget cycle. And of course, the themes and the experiences are all similar across the school district, across the city, of what we have been talking about, just challenges to our overall budgets. In addition to that, we spent a lot of time talking about St. Paul Public Schools, their school board will be discussing a referendum to be on the ballot this fall. And so they are going to be discussing which budget they will be going to the public to discuss later in July. So that's the biggest one that we spent a lot of time talking about. Thank you.
Commissioner Moran.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have just one program I'm going to highlight, and that is the pre-trial navigation program. So I just want to take a moment to highlight an important and compassionate step that Ramsey County is taking to support individuals transitioning from jail back into the community. And that is what we call the pre-trial navigation program. Our community partner is Roots Wellness, R-O-O-T-S Wellness. They reflect our county's commitment to public safety, community stability, and equity. The purpose of the program is to drive awareness of critical services that support individuals released from jail before trial. Right, so Ramsey County is committed to releasing any individuals, not any, but low-level offenses without a bail. So the whole bail process transformed into what we now have called the pre-trial navigation program. So,
And by the way, it alleviates the pressure on our jails.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just...
Nope, that's a good point. So our goal is to ensure that people not only show up for court, but also get connected to wraparound support that reduces the likelihood of reoffending. and it also increases the likelihood that they will show up for court. Why does this matter? Well, we know that civility reduces recidivism by offering support in areas like housing, mental health, employment, and basic needs. We're giving people a real chance at success. This effort also reduces the burden on law enforcement, our courts, and corrections by lowering warrants and improving court attendance. So part of our communication goals is why I'm saying it out loud, because we need community to be a partner with us to share this information back out into community, because we want to increase referrals. So we are focusing on educating our judges, our public defenders, our county attorney, our jail staff, and other system partners about how to refer individuals to the program with a high engagement with community and informing community, because they will be the trusted messengers to people who are being released. We want to build community awareness and trust, so we want our community to know that this isn't another arms of the justice system. This program is a community-led, operated by Roof Wellness, not law enforcement or correction. That distinction is essential for building trust and engagement, especially in communities that have historically been over-policed or underserved. Support program is a sustainability program. It's important to tell the success stories and show outcomes to county leadership and the public. That transparency helps us sustain and grow the work. So we're using all available communication channels, website updates, social media, internal emails, county publications like Hello Ramsey County, but also, again, it's about engaging with the community, because they are a big part of really helping individuals who do not trust government or law enforcement to say this is an entity outside of Ramsey County, is a community-based organization who has relationships in the community, who is doing the work to support these individuals. So we are asking all our system partners, from the courts to the jail staff to community providers, to help identify and refer eligible individuals. This is about meeting people at a vulnerable moment and offering a bridge, not a barrier, to opportunities. So in closing, this is smart justice. It's public safety done in partnership with community, not in isolation from it. And we are proud to be supporting Roof Wellness in this work, and we are excited about the difference this program can make for our residents. And that's it, Mr. Chair, members.
Yeah, it is a great program. It's just common sense, right?
Common sense,
Two things. First of all, the meeting with McCollum, what I came out of that, just one thing that struck me, Commissioner McGuire did a good report, and that is that the impacts of the budget that they're passing, we really won't feel until 28. Okay, so I bring that up so as we keep in mind we're dealing with some issues now, and it's a complicated budgetary process that I'm not going to spend time doing that, but the major impacts, especially the Medicaid and Medicare, are going to be in 28, just to keep that in back of your head as we're moving forward. The other thing is with the TAP, thank you, Commissioner Zhang. You know, we've been saying all along on West 7th that the money that they had budgeted in their project was for a state road that MnDOT is responsible for. And using...
Can you repeat that again?
That the money that the West 7th Street project that came forward to Ramsey County, that we did not put on our transportation list, included the reconstruction of West 7th, which is a state road, and the responsibility of the state, of DOT. And that was a major concern for us. We didn't do a good enough job of maybe communicating that, but nevertheless, I think the actions taken by the TAB, where the approval of the lending of money from the Met Council to MnDOT so they could fix Westserv, just in my mind, affirms that we were sticking to the right principles, right? Where each level of government, rather than looking at where pots of money are and trying to say, let's use that money over there, it was county money, it was county sales tax money, and, you know, you decide how, and that's what the transportation plan is. Just wanted to bring that up. Moving forward here for today, we have 2 closed meetings, and then we have the lunch with the Landmark Center Board. I think that's all we got, right, Lane?
Yep.
We are adjourned.
Thank you, Jason.
You.